Welcome to Life Fit with DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today I wanted to talk about how to not overthink your thoughts. And I've kind of been going through a whole process of talking a lot about, thoughts, the chatter going on in your head. Are you addicted to your thoughts? Are your thoughts a form of action? Are your thoughts actually actionable? Last few videos have been talking a lot about that, so I kind of wanted to, you know, look at the other end of, our thoughts, because a lot of the things I talk about here, they're all interrelated. They're all connected, and our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, right? Um, these are all interconnected things, and that includes our body, right? This vessel that we are in here, um, and I talk about these things a lot of how they are interconnected, but in evaluating and gaining perspective on all of the different thoughts that we have and judging them, right? And asking questions of whether, you know, these are things that you want to be thinking about. Are these things that are actionable? There can be a lot of, burnout that happens related to just trying to be vigilant and monitoring your own thoughts and what is going on, right? How can you be aware of what is going on in your head 24/7, right? Are you really responsible for that? And the answer is complex. It's yes and no. Yes, when you are aware of these things, can you evaluate them and look at them and examine, is this something that you want to be putting in front of yourself? Absolutely. But should you be doing that all of the time? It's impossible to, to try to be that vigilant all of the time. And I think my point is, you don't want to overthink it. You want to be going through the process of when you are, shifting perspectives and trying to, evaluate, is the thought you just had something that you want to continue, or is it something that maybe needs a pattern break? There's a reason why we need to get out of our heads, right, and back into our body in some way. And this can be all sorts of different things. I talk about it all the time: meditation, mindfulness, some sort of movement, walking, exercise, running, just doing daily chores or something outside where you're moving and getting into your body and out of your mind. Journaling helps with that, right? The process of writing, you know, puts those thoughts into the external world, and being in the external world can move us out of our thoughts. And there's a very critical reason why we need to do this. And I mean, first of all, like I just said, it's impossible to be hyper vigilant in, evaluating every single thought that we have. But if we do have a thought and we feel weird, we feel something off, right? That's when you evaluate it. Every other time where things feel good, right, where you made a decision and there isn't some sort of hiccup or missed beat in the thought process, right? You're just flowing and you don't feel off in any way, or like you don't feel like you're questioning that decision, right? Don't evaluate it, right? If it feels good and it feels like you know everybody's happy and you feel good about this situation, you don't need to evaluate these things repeatedly. Because the truth is, most people aren't. They don't care. They don't care. I mean, you're gonna care more about the decisions that you make more than anybody else, um, and it's important to obviously evaluate our own decisions if we feel that we might have made a better choice. But if overall we feel good, we shouldn't overthink it. And there's a critical reason why this is, and it's that every decision that we make, it's not wrong, bad. Every thought that we have doesn't mean we're bad, right? We don't need to identify with it, right? I mean, I talked yesterday about how when we do have these thoughts, we have addicting thoughts because we do have some sort of identity tie to these things, or we associate with that narrative in some way. But, right, when you look on the other side of it, right, we don't need to identify with any of those thoughts. And when we don't identify with the thoughts, it allows us to just be and exist and be present. And that's the beautiful thing, right? That's when we really can get into the flow of being ourselves and doing the things that we are supposed to be doing in this world. And it will shift our mind away from the narratives and that we've been programmed with, and it'll just gradually shift it into the inspiration where we'll just have an idea of, oh yeah, that would be cool to do, and then we just do it. We don't evaluate it, we don't we don't judge it, and maybe we take action on whatever that thing was, and we see how it feels, right? Does it sit right in our body? Do we feel good about it? Do other people feel good about it? I mean, not that you should always be asking that question, but if it's helping other people, right, that might feel good. I mean, if other people don't like it, then maybe you might want to tweak it, or whatever that idea is. Especially if you still feel good about whatever that is, the action or thought you were doing. So this is just a reframe of just trying to get out of our mind and shift back into the flow of our body. And just kind of on another level, what I have found personally is that I need to be active in my environment. I need to be interacting, right, with other people in a way that things aren't being judged or evaluated too hard. Jokes can be made, right? But at the same time, when you get in your head and you get too judgmental on and it's not even just being judgmental towards yourself, but other people are getting too judgmental and just acting in weird ways, right? And that makes you feel weird. Maybe you belong in a different environment, right? Maybe you're not meant to be around those people having that specific discussion or whatever, right? For me, I find that it's very important to be able to be in my body, be in flow, and taking action. And if I get anything from the external world that is doesn't sit right or whatever, it's very easy for me to course correct when I'm already in that kind of flow state. However, if I'm in the external world and I'm in my head and I'm not focused on what I'm doing in the external world, but I'm thinking about those scenarios, right? Those addicting thoughts, those stories, whether you should say something or shouldn't say something, and you're questioning that, and you're overthinking, and you feel bad about that because by expressing yourself, that makes other people upset in that environment, right? Maybe maybe that's not an environment that you should be in. And that's why it's important to listen to yourself, your body, how you're feeling. Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling relaxed with the people you're with, right? And this is just so critical. I mean, and what I'm kind of referencing is when I'm out, doing, in my body, doing something fun, coaching, um, you know, you know, doing an activity or whatever, and interacting with people. Typically, I feel really good. I feel like I'm flowing. But when I worked in the corporate world, oh my goodness, there's so many. I can be very, very analytical on my, thoughts that are being had, and how things connect and all of that. And a lot of people would not understand what, like, how I was thinking, why I was thinking it, the connections I was making, and would become very judgmental on me, what felt was me, because they didn't understand how I was arriving at the conclusions that um, I was making. And ultimately this is like an intuition thing that some people might not be able to grasp, right? If they don't have the same connections or data nodes in the head that you have, right, you're going to come to different conclusions. And that was very off-putting for people that just didn't understand, my way of thinking. And then, I felt on the defensive trying to explain to them how I arrived at that conclusion, and they still didn't understand it. Um, to where that became a point of friction, and it was like, okay, well, if you're not happy with me being able to make these conclusions, or express my thoughts of what I think is happening here, please fill me in. Like, what do you think is happening, so that we can have a better sort of rapport, and you know create a better team and cooperation on the projects we're working on. And ultimately it just became about the people I was working with just didn't like me for whatever reason. And sometimes that's just the way it is, right? Not everybody needs to understand to get along or to function. But at the same time, if they're going to shift the mood, and really be upset about and judgmental on your thought process, um, you know maybe that's a place that you shouldn't be, right? And you want to move towards a place where it feels better, right? Because you certainly don't want to be overthinking these things. And that's what it caused me to do, is I started to question everything that all the thoughts I was having. Should I share this with them? Should I not? Well, I mean, if I did, how do I explain this to them, right? And then you just become highly critical toward yourself in a way that you really just don't need to. You just need to find a different place, and to flow into an area that makes sense for you, with people that will appreciate your train of thought, and how you're going about doing these things. So anyway, this is my little talk today about you know not overthinking things, and trying to get more into the body and your environment, and just flowing with it. And ultimately, this is just, it's so critical for your health. And just your attention to allow yourself to not turn it inward, right? Turn those thoughts inward, those narratives inward on yourself, and just let them go. Surrender to whatever those thoughts are, and just be in the moment, right? Because ultimately, like I said, most people just don't care. But I mean, if you are experiencing that resistance, right, with other people, try to shift outside of, their perspective, right? How they see you, and just get into your own, right? Because ultimately, if somebody has an issue with you, right, that's their problem, right? So if they're causing you to like turn those thoughts in on yourself, right, you have to get back into your body. And once again, maybe that's a environmental change or a shift change or something like that. To to try to shift you out of your head, but it's important to be aware of these things so that you just don't end up in this mental purgatory, where you're just evaluating and over analyzing everything, because ultimately these things should be easy, right? You should just flow. But the programming, the narratives, the overthinking can just really cause life to be hard sometimes. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you're an overthinker, if you want help with it. I'd be happy to try to help. Let me know how you mitigate some of your overthinking, and what you do to try to get back in your body. It'd be interesting to hear. So like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'd appreciate it. And until next time, talk to you later.